Joining us now is our colleague, Jaime Diaz. Jaime, you have covered a lot of big moments in this game. What is your reaction to what we've seen and heard today?
Man, I feel like it's a whole new ball game again. We felt that last year, and we're feeling it again. And, you know, you have concern about what are these changes going to be as far as good for the greater good of the game, or will something be lost? And so, obviously, that's all to be undetermined. I mean, it's undetermined at the moment, all to be determined. I do feel like it could be an opportunity if it's all handled in a really, you know, delicate, judicious, and I guess respected way. But it also could look like a sellout. It's I think between those two poles right now, and we're going to learn more, obviously, as early as today with Jay Monahan.
Jaime, you've covered this game a long time. For it to now get to this point, when LIV was first announced, did you think we would ultimately reach this type of resolution down the road?
You know, I really didn't. I really thought that the PGA Tour, their duty was really to protect the history of the game, the continuum of the game, and LIV did not seem like it was going to be an asset in that regard at all. In fact, it was going to be a detriment. It might blow up the whole thing that really the PGA Tour has built all these years. And I've been in that camp as far as feeling like the best thing for the game is for the PGA Tour to retain its primacy. It did happen, however, obviously, and my mind goes back to the mergers when I was growing up at the NFL, AFL, and ABA, NBA, and those things were looked at, and certainly not the same circumstances, but, you know, as sort of threats to the traditions. And I think, you know, if you're a traditionalist, that's the first reaction you have. But with time and very quickly, actually, ABA, NBA, NFL, AFL was normalized. Not to say this isn't got way more nuance. Still, in the long run, it might be normalized too.
Jaime, there's been some shock and anger of the players on social media. How big of an afternoon is this for the commissioner of the PGA Tour, Jay Monahan, when he sits down and meets with the players in Canada today?
I think it's important in terms of trust. I mean, I think the players have put their trust in Jay Monahan, and Jay's always come through in the past. He's been under enormous pressure here. I'm sure he's going to have to explain a lot of the levels of this decision because for what was apparent, it looked like the court case was going in the PGA Tour's direction. The players that had left were not coming back. All these things that looked like the Tour was in control of this, and to look like they've lost control, he's got some explaining to do. And it'll be, I think, take all his skill and all that he's learned, especially this last year, to put it together and make sense of it in a way that they can trust him in the future.
Jaime, to expand on this, and I read this quote earlier, this was what Jay Monahan had to say. I applaud PIF Governor Yasir Al-Rumayyan for his vision and collaborative and forward-thinking approach that is not just a solution to the rift in our game, but also a commitment to take it to new heights. To hear that language, if you're a PGA Tour member and you're walking into this meeting, Todd Lewis, the most important player meeting the PGA Tour has arguably ever had. Do you agree with those sentiments? I
do agree. You know, Todd's got better on-the-ground knowledge of being in those or right before those meetings, but I think probably the vibe is this is huge. This is everything's on the line right now. And I think certainly what Jay said in those comments contradicted the stance that the PGA Tour was taking towards Saudi and towards, you know, the LIV Tour. However, it's been a negotiation now, and perhaps now one of the things they all have to do is unify and look like, you know, we're all on the same side. So this is politics as well. I don't necessarily think those words are exactly how he feels right now, but at the same time, it's for the good of going forward, so you can work together and make this thing happen in a way that, you know, the players can accept.